Thank you all for being here. This is the second Closing the Excellence Gap Summit. 26 states are represented, 69 cities, 33 science and math schools, 11 arts and fine arts schools. And just so that you can get to see one another, I want everyone who's with an early college school to raise their hand. So take a look so you get to see who you're going to go meet, okay? How about all the arts schools, arts and fine arts? Take a look around. These are the folks you want to meet today. How about the STEM schools? Yeah, okay, there are too many of you guys. And what about the governor's schools? Governor's schools, we got a cluster over there, a few more. This is good. Thank you. So why are we doing this? The Jack Kent Cooke Foundation, as you know, is dedicated to promoting the interests of high-achieving, low-income kids. And we try and do this in all kinds of ways, most importantly with our scholarships. We give them in the 7th grade for high school, in the 12th grade for undergraduate, and to community college students who want to go on to a four-year institution. This year, I can report to you, we started a bunch of scholarships with Oxford. So every year, a number of our students go on to Oxford and also to Cambridge. Many think that if you're smart and poor, you can write your own ticket. But when it comes to college, we know that it couldn't be further from the truth. There are many, many kids who struggle to get in and who struggled for support and who need all kinds of help along the way. And what we have collected in this room for the second time is the expertise from all across the country of people who actually understand how to do this well. At all points along the educational pipeline, there are disparities between the percentage of low-income versus high-income students who reach advanced levels of academic achievement. We call that the excellence gap. We're here to band together to close the excellence gap. Our job, if we do it well over the next few days, is to learn something about the scholarships that are available, raise awareness about the excellence gap, and learn something about best practices from one another. First, I want to take a moment to go through some of the things that you're going to be doing over the next 2 days. We have extraordinary speakers. We have the governor of Connecticut. I have to tell you the story of the governor of Connecticut. I walked in and I started telling him about, 22% of the high-performing low-income kids don't even apply to college. And he said, oh, you mean the Hoxby study? Okay, that's a governor? How many people in this room knew that that was the Hoxby study? Okay, the governor knew. You don't count. We have Checker Finn. He's one of the preeminent scholars in this field, and he's going to be talking with you as well. This is an extraordinary set of folks we've collected. And let me say, we've also got the Deputy Secretary of Labor. His real claim to fame is that he was Secretary to the Cabinet, and before that, he was Barack Obama's classmate in law school, and the two of them have risen to fame and fortune. And he is incredibly dedicated to making the connection between business and education. 67 schools out of 100 in this classroom have helped 12th graders apply to the Cooke College Scholarship this year. That's great. But I say to you, we have 100 principals here. I need the rest of you, please, to consider getting that number to 100. We also have a unique scholarship program that begins in the middle school, the Cooke Young Scholars Program. 11 principals in this room have at least one young scholar in their high school. In fact, Ivy Bray in Georgia, Ivy, is fortunate enough to have 2 young scholars at his school. I ask you each, please, to connect with the principals of your feeder and middle schools to make sure they're getting the 7th graders to apply. And the application is open through to April 14th. I'd also like you to meet the most energetic, I mean the most important person at the Cooke Foundation, and that is Nara Lee, right there. Stand, please. She is our manager of recruitment. Every one of you needs to get her card. The most important thing I can say to you is the power of our alumni and the power of the scholarship, not just to change the student's life, but to change a family's life, is enormous. And I would ask you all for your help. The second thing I want to impress on the group is we need to raise awareness around the excellence gap. Too few people know about this problem. And the salient fact here comes from a report written by Jennifer Giancola, who, by the way, his real name is now Jennifer Glynn, having just gotten married. Important. Yeah. There you go. Come on. But did you know that of the enrollment of the highly selective colleges, only 3% come from the low-income group? And here's the worst case. And 72% come from the wealthy. Top quartile, bottom quartile. What the hell is that about? Because we know in our schools that there are many, many low-income kids who can do this. And yet, the gates are still closed. We need to fix that. In this room, we have the ability to fix that. Some of your colleagues were on Capitol Hill today. You're going to be meeting business leaders tomorrow. I urge you, talk about the excellence gap. Make them understand the degree to which this is a profound unfairness, and more to the point, also diminishes our capacity as a nation to be in the forefront commercially. You have in your folder the True Merit Report. Take some time to read it. It is an incredible piece of research. And then perhaps most importantly, the nature of these convenings, I mean, my vision for them is that you all will share best practices with one another. And that's why I had you identify who's doing the same kind of work just now. There are too few opportunities for us to meet one another, to talk about best practices, to share our mission and our sense of passion. I was joking with the New Yorkers who relentlessly cluster at one table no matter what I do, that, you know, you really ought to talk to others and learn from other people in the country. And their reaction was, and it's actually quite interesting, their reaction was, we never get to see each other in New York. We don't even get to talk to each other there. So, you know, for the rest of you, you know, for the folks from Georgia, for the folks, you know, I know the temptation is, let's talk to one another about our common, you know, political problems, bureaucratic problems, administrative problems, but I implore you, do break out and talk to others, because this is the one opportunity where we can have those cross-cutting conversations. And on that note, let me also say, the opportunity here is not just to talk about best practices, but also to talk about common problems. Yesterday, I sat in for a few minutes on the board as we were having lunch together, the class board, and one individual said, you know, we have mental health issues in our schools, and we need to talk about that. And I said, this is the opportunity. You know, if mental health has turned into a more poignant matter for you, then let's see what other folks are doing, and let's compare notes. So, rigorous curriculum, unique learning opportunities, creation of internships, relationships with business, all important. But if you have something like a mental health issue that you think is common to others, this is the moment where you really ought to talk to one another and address those issues. We only get to do this once a year. I urge you to take advantage of the moment. There were two people who've done extraordinary things in bringing class together and worked enormously hard to make the organization stand on its own feet. And I'm delighted to have partnered with them. And I'd like to introduce both Crystal Bonds and Todd Mann.